Talked about it, and we started developing what we wanted to do here and develop this school. The most important thing we felt, and we both had experiences about this, is that some of the most important principles that kids needed to know, that our nation needed to know, were not being taught. And then at Heritage Academy, we needed to teach those principles. There's a whole lot of things going on, and it's not black and white, right? But it's about truth. It's about being good. It's about being nice to each other. It's about listening to each other. I think one of the biggest challenges that we face today is that nobody wants to take responsibility. My goal with Heritage Academy with you students, and maybe I did this, maybe I didn't, was to help you students take responsibility for your own education, for your life. Your teachers, the principals, and all these wonderful people, they were just there to help you get what you wanted anyway. And as students came to that realization, it changed. I don't know if you guys know how many people came to Heritage Academy and just could not believe what they saw and felt. The students that came there, I just love you. Each and every one of you. I think of you often. I pray for you always. And I just want you to know that you are what makes Heritage Academy wonderful, what will make it continue to be wonderful, and you also are what's going to save this nation and help it to be the incredible, loving nation that it's supposed to be. I leave that with you with all my heart and with my love. Thank you so much for letting me come here today. I really appreciate it.
One story really quick. Is that okay? Is that all right? Okay. I can attest to the amazingness of the teachers of Heritage Academy. Because on more than one occasion, Mr. Rick Dalton has been there to secure an antique mirror for me when I needed him to, as I traveled from Tucson. And then lo and behold, without me even thinking he'd be there, he shows up to my husband's funeral and gives me the biggest hug. And that's how awesome our Heritage Academy teachers are, is that they love us and they are a family. And so I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I built my life around you. But time makes you older, children get older, and I'm getting older too. Well, I'm getting older too. So take this love and take it down. And if you climb a mountain and you turn around, and if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, well, the landslide brought me down. And if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, well, maybe the landslide will bring you down.
You remind me of Sergeant Jasper, of being there in the moments of need, and you've always been able to keep this spirit of liberty going across campus, across classes. Oh my! And I recognize you for that.
I know there's many wonderful things that I can continue to talk about. And that's really just about his Spanish class. We touched on his football. You probably have more rings than Tom Brady, I think. Very accomplished on the field and any assignments that we've been able to give him. A history teacher, Spanish teacher, students love him and appreciate him, and we're lucky to have him in so many ways. So if you could join me in a big round of applause recognizing Mr. Spencer Bowers for the Lifetime Achievement Award.
So much has been said about teachers that have inspired you, but I feel like I was more inspired by you than you were inspired by me. And being here, I think often of a quote by Cicero who said, "Poor is the nation that has no heroes, but poorer still is the nation that having heroes fails to remember and honor them." And I'm just so grateful to have been a part and to continue to be a part of a school that remembers our heroes. Because by remembering our heroes, we know what it will take to become the next heroes that this country will need. So thank you again for this award. I appreciate that.
He was a theater teacher for a number of years, so I felt appropriate that we be a little dramatic here. Perfect. We're going to actually start off with Nathan over here and then work our way down.
I know you're bald.
You're in good company.
I never knew that.
So we're honored to be presenting this award for the Lifetime Achievement of Excellence and Dedication in Education for Gary Helmbold. Gary inspired many of you, many of us. There was an experience. So I was in a couple of plays in high school, and I made sure to let Mr. H or Gary know that I was not good at memorizing lines at all. I was terrible. I had bad memory, couldn't do it. So, I made sure to let him know that. He made sure to give me all of the lines that, the parts that had the most lines in the plays that I was in. So, but he always believed in me. He always knew that better than I did of what I could accomplish. And I'm sure that was true for many of you.
Mitchell Bates said, in drama, I remember just having so much fun. He always seemed to see where everyone could shine. He didn't just teach us how to be good actors, but how to be better people. I know that teaching can sometimes be a thankless job, and it's hard, and you always have to put on a happy face and motivate even when you don't feel like it. But thank you for doing that for thousands of students, and I love you.
Thing I love about Heritage, and I love about the teachers at Heritage, because I think they're some of the finest, most noblest teachers that teach at Heritage Academy, is that they never really stop being your teacher. Even though age and time move on, you still feel that connection in that result that way. And I can't think of a person who I am more grateful for than Gary Helmbold. So if we could please join us in a round of applause of honoring him here tonight. You want to say any words?
Is this thing on? It is so fun to be here and see all my former faculty friends and my beautiful students. Teaching in Heritage Academy for 21 years, only one time in 21 years did I wake up in the morning and think, I don't want to do this today. And that was my last day.
because I loved it. It enriched my life in ways that I couldn't even have imagined before I started. It made everything about who I am better. And the students taught me far more than I taught them. Thank you very much for this great honor. I'll stick this on my wall and look at it every day, along with the many photos I have from productions that I was blessed in every way to be a part of. Thank you all very much.
You say I only hear what I want to. And you say I talk so all the time. So, and I thought what I found was simple, and I thought that I don't belong. And now that I am leaving, now I know that I did something wrong, 'cause I missed you. Yeah, I missed you. And you say I only hear what I want to. I don't listen hard, don't pay attention to the distance that you're running to anyone, anywhere. I don't understand if you really care. I'm only hearing negative. Go back. And you say stay. You say I only hear what I want to. Thank you.
Big ships, big ships, little ships, little ships. So I was as she asked me to come maybe share some stories from class. I was racking my brain trying to think of any like specific instances of like that are super memorable for me, and I couldn't quite think of anything. And I was asking my wife and heard her talking about some stories with some people, and I realized all the stories she had to share were getting in trouble. So I realized I don't have any stories because I wasn't a troublemaker. If I do say so myself, maybe the perfect suit. So, as I've talked to a lot of teachers, pretty much the consensus is the most difficult grades to teach is junior high. They're very difficult. And so I'm just so grateful for such a wonderful lady that dedicated so much time and effort to teaching and inspiring and being just an important role model to such young people for so long. Thank you.
And as I spoke earlier, I was the one on the ground crawling in her class. That was the junior high student that every teacher probably didn't want to have. But I feel like she instilled in me some very important things. Even recently, I got the chance to hike the Grand Canyon. And lo and behold, the stories that she told us of Lewis and Clark were coming back to my mind. And I could remember her voice. I could remember the passion she had about their story. So when I was there, it was as if I was reliving all those stories she told me as a 7th grader, right? So the least of those students, right, the ones that seem like they're not learning and they're not paying attention, they actually are, as I was. And I'll always remember, too, the opportunity she gave me to be a TA, made me take responsibility, which led to student council, which led to a lot of really amazing opportunities at Heritage and beyond. So the culture that was cultivated, it really did start there at Heritage in the 7th grade with Mrs. Reid, who was patient enough to let me be Kendra and then develop into something better. So I'm always going to be grateful for her.
I think that when I look at some of the most powerful women in my life, Sandi Reid's at the top of it, along with Judy Naegle. I've been so honored when I went to college and they were talking about women need to be empowered. And I was so confused because all of my life growing up, I had watched Heritage Academy empower women like Sandi, Reid, and Judy, Naegle, and my mom. And it was just so incredible. She was put on this earth to teach junior high history, and she was phenomenal at it. I will share a personal story one day. I was in her class, and she passed out a talk or a speech from a founding father, and she put us in groups. She said, read it and then discuss it. And I grabbed that paper and I said, I don't like being the last one done, so I tried to read it as fast as I could, and I didn't understand it. And I think she figured that out by my body language. She came up to me, and I remember the thoughts coming up through my head saying, this is hard. I don't get this. I want to give up. How do I get out of this? And she saw that I was struggling. She walked up and she put her hand on my shoulder. She said, just slow down. Take it one step at a time, one little piece at a time, just try to understand it. And interestingly enough, fast forward, I'm approaching an alumni association. And guys, guess what? I'm overwhelmed some days. I get scared and stressed and I want to give up. And I felt so surely Sandi Reid's presence witness again. Her words came back to me. She said, slow down. Take it one step at a time. You'll figure this out. I'm so grateful for Sandi Reid and the incredible, powerful woman she was. We are so honored, and there's not enough great words to say about her, but we love her so much, and we're so grateful for her work and for her textbook. Oh my goodness, we have to bring that up too. Her incredible textbook. Yes, her life on work, just incredible. But we are honored today. We'd like to bring up Reid to accept this award and share her thoughts. Thank you. That it is our honor to present this award for outstanding dedication and educational excellence in remembrance of Sandi Reid. Oh, sorry.
I didn't realize that you were going to ask me to speak. I'm overwhelmed. I feel Sandi's presence, and she's smiling. We talked about legacy earlier, and she has quite a legacy. As a grandmother, as a wife, as a friend, I miss her. And I'm sure many of you do also. Thank you for this great honor.
So this woman made me who I am in so many ways. And I was really grateful when Kara asked if I want to say something about Judy. I was like, yes, absolutely. And then the other day I was like, I didn't prepare anything. And then I remember Judy Naegle telling us why she made us memorize quotes and poems. So that you could have a talk at any moment. And I thought, you know, Edgar A's guest said, somebody said that it couldn't be done, and he with a chuckle replied that maybe it couldn't, but he would be one who wouldn't say so till he tried. And he buckled right in with a trace of a grin on his face. If he was doubting, he hit it, and he started to sing as he tackled that thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. Oh! It really touched my heart that Judy Naegle would say, you know, our only purpose in life is to love others and to allow them to be who they are and to support them on their journey. And that is absolutely the most beautiful thing.
I don't have a memory to be able to memorize poetry. It's just not one of my skills. But she was going to teach me how to recite the Village Blacksmith. Oh, she just pounding that sucker in my head. Except there was parts I could not get for life. I mean, I was watching other students just get it absolutely perfectly. It's like, I can't do it. And finally she brought me into her office. She was like, okay, I know you know this thing. I've seen you studying it. I know you're trying it. It's like, all right, I'll give it a try. How's it start? I can't remember. And so I started, and then I just started rattling it off. And there's like a few other parts I had just a little bit of a hard time. But she would just prompt me with a word or two, and I would just get the rest of it. And she was so impressed by how much I was able to recite. And she was like, you keep saying that you don't know this thing, but you just practically recited it to me perfectly. And it's like, well, okay. It's like, you know what? I'm impressed by you so much, I'm going to start telling the other students about how this student that didn't know how to, was so down on himself that he couldn't memorize something, but he kept at it. And I was like, of course I'll leave your name out of it. But. And so the next day in class, she did exactly that. She told the whole class about how a student worked so hard at it and was able to get it. And it meant a lot to me. And if she told the story to you guys too, I'm so sorry. Judy was passionately in love with her students and their potential. I realized as a new professional teacher that love was a sauce that made the classroom come alive. With learning, and Judy was the master at this. She was also so quick to laugh. One time, 2 snakes escaped the biology class cage. The biology teacher searched high and low, but did not think to look in the downstairs English teacher's office. I wish I had been in the English department when the snake came slithering out from under Judy's desk. I could only imagine. We laughed a long time over that and many other adventures in teaching. Judy has a beautiful, heartfelt laugh that could light up a room. She is a lady larger than life, so it is no wonder heaven needed her back to be a mission companion with Sandi Reid. What a tremendous legacy both of these ladies have left behind, and will begin as they teach others of Christ on the other side. Diane, and you're that.
As we've all been able to see tonight, anyone who's been privileged to be a student at Heritage Academy knows that every teacher is strong and powerful. One of the strongest is your mother. I'll glance occasionally. One of the main things was her morning thoughts every morning. You know, anytime we had class, she'd always have a quote or a little quick saying up there. She instead of having a moment of silence or whatever else, she's, all right guys, here's 5-10 minutes. Open your mind and just let it flow. Some kids would give small answers. I started out very small, and then one day I just sat and thought about it. She would have some sort of music going, and it allowed the atmosphere she allowed you to have, the things that she studied and wanted to make sure that you became the best you were perfect for what I needed at that time. My 11th and 12th grade year, I lost. Now I was able to open and realize that I can do more, and she knew it the whole time. She knew it with every student the whole time, that they could be better than what they were allowing themselves to be. You could be more than what you're giving yourself credit for. And she helped me with that. And these quotes, all of a sudden, I would start writing paragraphs for a 1-line sentence. She's like, Michael, where did this come from? I don't know. You put that there, and I put this here. I don't know. And I guess it's been a couple of years now, because she was teaching at Pathfinder Charter School for a while. And my daughter was going there, and I knew she was teaching there. Like, you know what? I'm going to go visit Miss Naegle. And I'm glad I did, but I wish I'd done it more. But I walked over to her classroom, because she was teaching 7th and 8th grade. And I just sat at the back of the room with my wife, who also went to Heritage. And I just sat there. She was talking to a student. And once the student was done, she walked out, and she looks over, because I'm in the back of the room. She's like, my baby! And I come running up to her and give her a big hug. She would not let me go. And like, this was not planned by any means. It was just, I wanted to go see her. And we sat there and talked, and she just smiled. It was such a wonderful smile. And she pulled out of her notebook all of my morning thoughts. She had kept them all. I never knew she had them. But she pulled them out of her folder in that classroom. I'm like, I didn't plan on seeing her at all. You've had these the whole time?
Yeah. All of them.
Yeah. And I had no idea. But it was her who created them. Well, but to have known her was an honor indeed. She will always be remembered, as all of you will. You guys are receiving this beautiful honor right here for reasons that cannot be measured. You are Heritage Academy. You are why we are here. You are why we succeed. You are why we're going to help create generations that will keep America going. So, thank you so much. From all of us, thank you. Holly, we have something to present. This here is the wonderful daughter of Miss Judy Naegle, Holly.
I was the first graduating class.
Yeah.
I was the first graduating class in 1996. And Chad Gallagher, where are you? There you are. Chad, come here real quick. Come here. OG's first graduating class. We started kindergarten together, so. Sweetheart. That's you. So anyway, I actually am a little bit more prepared tonight because Allison told my mom and I that this evening was going to happen, I think back in October. So Mom, of course, went into her, I'm going to prepare a poem. And then as she got sicker, she could not do that. But what she did do was she started her talk, and she couldn't finish it. So I promised her that I would finish her talk. This was one of the last things that she was able to say was that you have to finish this, you have to promise me that you'll deliver this. But I also wanted to say that all of your stories that you told tonight, I knew them very well. She told them to me, she told them to her students. So, and also all the poetry you guys have been quoting, you took my mom's talk, so you're gonna hear a lot of repeats. And also, I was also one of her students, so I had the privilege of not only being her daughter, but being her student, and she gave me my first C ever. I'd like to say it was my only C, but no. So let me begin with this. I also would like to mention that not many of you know that Aunt Sandi Reid and my mom were first cousins. They grew up together, and they left this earth 7 days apart. In fact, my mother passed from this life at exactly the moment that Aunt Sandi's family viewing started, to the minute. I was able to call Aunt April and let her know, and they were able to announce it to the entire family. Leave it to my mom to not want to be left out at that heavenly party. My mom would have loved tonight. She was so looking forward to being here with all of you. She started writing a little memory to share with you tonight, and she couldn't quite finish it. She made me promise to finish it. My 10 years at Heritage are so dear to my heart that there are no words that can do it justice. She states that her greatest education of all came from the classroom, both homeschool and public school. My students were my finest teachers. She writes, I marveled at the depth of their souls and delighted in their joy of life and their receptivity to the life's lessons that happened in our classroom. The greatest thing I ever did for them was to openly express my love and to require them to memorize poetry and quotes. All of those years later, when they contact me, they express gratitude for the poetry and how it changed their lives. There were times of growth and learning, probably more for me than any of you. Many of you were excellent students, others not heads. But when all was said and done, you were colts and fillies on your way to being thoroughbreds. And look at you today with your beautiful spouses and your families. Has it been easy? No, of course not. Have you learned along the way? Hopefully, yes. I think my favorite year was the year when there weren't enough books to put all 6 of my classes in the same novel. You were magnificent, creative, funny. I've never laughed so much. Remember the day I ate the apple to the music, The Hall of the Mountain King? Remember when Mr. Burrell and I made up the rap at Halloween when I dressed up as Mother Nature? Remember the cart I pushed around with all my books and stuff? And bless all of you TAs. I couldn't have survived without you. I want you to imagine a football field marked off in 10 yards from one end to the other. This is your life. We take it in 10 yards at a time, and we survive. Forgive the yards that don't work well for you and move on. Lesson 2. I want to reiterate with you that your one and only job is to love and allow others their journey. Lesson 3. The heights my great men reached and kept were not attained by sudden flight, but those, while their companions slept, were toiling upward in the night. Lesson 4. Be where you're supposed to be there when you're supposed to be there, and be doing what you're supposed to be doing. At this point, my mom kept rattling off a few more things. This above all, to thine own self be true. She wanted me to end with Longfellow's, lives of great men all remind us that we can make our lives sublime, and departing leave behind us footprints in the sands of time. Now for me. I want you to know how blessed you are, that you had my mother as a teacher. She loved you all so dearly. You truly had the best of her. And when I say that, I mean that. You had all the good parts of my mother. And I am so proud and so pleased to have shared her with you. Sorry.
In the quiet, misty morning, when the moon has gone to bed, when the sparrows stop their singing, and the sky is clear and red, when the summer ceases its gleaming, and the corn is past its prime, when adventure's lost its meaning, I'll be homeward bound in time. Bind me not to the pasture, chain me not to the plow, set me free to find my calling, and I'll return to you somehow. If you find it's me you're missing, if you're hoping I'll return to your thoughts, I'll soon be listening. In the road I'll stop and turn, then the wind will set me racing as my journey nears its end.